Good morning. This is Rosemary, and this is the Lightwalker's Path, a place to find your soul's purpose, hear enlightening conversation, and meet inspirational guests like today's guest, Dr. Crystal Harrell. Is that how we say it?
Yes, it's like Harrell. Like,
Harrell. Okay. Best-selling author, motivational speaker, certified stress reduction instructor, PhD in public health from Yale, and just an amazing human. So I am so excited to have you on, Dr. Harrell.
thank you so much for having me, Rosemary. I'm really excited.
Oh, that's super cool. Love that. Yeah, so you have such an interesting background. So first I want to know what was the impetus to begin on your path of spiritual healing and openness that you're on now? What are some of the steps that really opened you up to this spiritual path?
Oh, wow, this is such a beautiful question. Um, I've never been asked it before, I must admit. So I guess I never really sat and thought about the steps that kind of led me here. But I will say that I grew up very in a religious household. So both my parents were ministers in the Christian
Oh,
church. And
okay.
so I always had this awareness of, the spiritual world and, Christ Jesus and
Hmm.
that whole kind of like just being aware that there's a world that is available to us that we cannot see.
Hmm.
And I always felt connected to that world as a child. And when my dad passed away when I was 11, I kind of closed myself off to that way of seeing life. And it took me 14 years to get back to my spiritual path because I was at the darkest moment of my life in 2018.
Oh.
And I was suicidal and just had these, dark thoughts about not wanting to be here anymore. But on the outside, I looked like I was achieving so much. But those are usually the people who are struggling, the ones that, suffer in silence. So that was my journey. And so from 2018 till now, I've been on this spiritual path of really, I call it soul alchemy. So it's
Yes.
everything that happened to us and turning that and transmuting that pain into purpose. And it's possible. And I only learned that from reading work like Dr. Joe Dispenza, you mentioned your
Yes,
case.
Joe Dispenza. Yes.
Yeah, so I was reading about their work about being transformed, and I wanted to know if it was possible for me to become more like my inner child who was so full of life, so full of joy. And so it
Uh-huh.
led me here.
I love that. I do know that many people that are fascinating healers and life shifters, we've all walked through that same kind of idea that,
Mm,
we don't know where the path goes, but something fires us up and we get back to the faith that we have inside of us. I mean, without like my own faith, I don't know where I'd be because
yes.
God has always led my steps, but you forget because you get so busy doing things, you forgot like, oh, I'm not alone. I do have my angels, I have my ancestors, my guides. We're not alone ever. So I'm excited that you used your life's mission and you found it again because that's what we're really here to do is help each other, right?
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So, I know that you went to Yale and you must be brilliant because I know that's a wonderful place for you to be. And you studied over there. What was your degree? Was it like was it stress reduction? Was it mental health? What did you study there that kind of like fed you?
Yeah, so the actual doctorate itself is in public health, but
Okay.
for every doctorate you have a concentration. So my concentration was on social and behavioral science, and my research focus was on spiritual consciousness.
I
And so
love. Oh,
So
yeah.
I was looking at this concept of spiritual consciousness, which is it's rarely studied within the field of public health or any field. But
Yeah.
I was pulling on a lot of work from like quantum physics. I was pulling on a lot of
Yeah.
work from Dr. Joe Dispenza because we know that his work has been researched a lot. He has
Amazing, right?
Right. So I just pulled on what was already available and kind of created this concept of spiritual consciousness being this awareness of this invisible force because we don't know what consciousness is. I'm
Mhm.
sure you've heard about the hard problem of consciousness before. So there's no really way to define this invisible nature of life, but I wanted to know if just being aware of it has some type of moderating effects on the relationship between stress and health. And from the
Mhm.
research that we did, we found that people who do have higher levels of spiritual consciousness do actually enjoy better health, even
Oh,
when
I believe that.
So it was just like science was
Yes.
putting like spirituality, like it was just like this beautiful dance between the two. And I got so excited and I wanted to study further and my degree ended. So now I'm here.
I love it. They also did research on the power of prayer. So when someone is ill and you pray for them,
Yes.
even if they don't know,
Mhm.
that creates a positive shift in them. And the other thing is people that are positive and have faith always fare better during
Yeah.
operations and actually through life. But
Yeah.
they've actually had research studies on that as well.
Yeah.
And I totally believe it. I do know that positive people fare really well under stress. So,
Yeah.
it's that faith connection that we have. Okay. So do you, at this point, do you do sessions for people? Is it mainly public speaking? Is it through your books? So how do you reach your audience so that they know who you are and how they can get help from you?
Oh, this is another beautiful question because I'm still in that space of learning how to best package my gifts and what I have to offer. So
Beautiful.
before it was with books. So I wrote two books while I was in grad school. And that was just a way for me to help students on their path of their journey of
Love
self-discovery.
that.
Because I was getting a lot of questions like, how did you go from public housing to
Yes.
Yale? Like that was like the biggest.
Yes.
And I was like, I don't like, I've never sat down with my journey because I had tunnel vision. It was either
Yeah.
I make it to the end of this academic journey or there was no plan B for me. And so, students kept asking me for help and I was coaching them, but I'm only one person. So my
Mhm.
mom was just like, you should write a book, you should name it Crystal Clear. And then when students
Love it.
asking for help, just give them a copy of your book. And so that's what I started doing.
I love
Uh,
that. Yeah.
but now I actually do want to sit with people because when I was coaching students, even though they came to me for academic support, I've noticed that they were struggling with the same things I was dealing with, anxiety, burnout,
Hmm.
self-doubt. And
Hmm.
so I started coaching them on those things. And then they were like sending me, I have like literally, I feel like a bucket of testimonials from students saying they got into this school or I helped them with this. And I'm like, it's
Yes.
doing the work. I'm just there helping you express.
Yes. You're
Yeah.
the light. You're the light. And,
Yeah.
and when we're done today, if you have another 15 minutes, I've got a couple ideas in my mind because they're coming in. The angels are coming in,
Oh,
telling me stuff for you. So when we're done, I can give you a couple ideas you can try out because they're telling me you have a very strong mission ahead of you.
Rosemary,
So
I was literally asking about this last night. Like, how do I serve? How do I do this? So I am
they're
thankful.
telling me. They're telling me. So when we're done, we hop on for 15 minutes after our chat today because they're really guiding me for you. Oh,
Um,
and they're coming in. So if you're getting chills right now, that's your angels.
I know
Love
I'm
that.
gonna get emotional in this
That's
interview. I'm
okay.
sorry.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So I love that you have your book crystal clear. So you're saying that you put in your journey into your book as a guide for other people to give them that light. So what
Hmm.
are some of the top things that you learned that you put in your book that you know have guided your people, your clients, even if you don't like consciously remember, like what are some of the highlights that you can recall that you say, wow, that really was a lesson. I
Yeah.
learned that.
Oh, I love these questions. I guess like the main thing or the underlying theme of the book was just having a vision for your life. So
Yes.
whether that's going to school or whatever it is that you're building, whatever vision you were given, it's
Yes.
holding that vision even when there's turbulence, even when people are telling you to be realistic. Because I
Yes.
write about that in the book. Like I've had so many teachers, guidance counselors telling me that I wasn't going to go to college and I wasn't going to do well because of
Oh,
family situation and students like me don't succeed. Like I can't, like literally there's so many instances where that happened. But again, I tried to distill in the book that you could use that and
yes.
alchemize that and turn it into fuel instead of letting it keep you stuck.
I love
But
that.
that was
Yeah.
the main kind of theme is anything is possible. And I
Yeah.
truly believe that.
I certainly do. And I
Yeah.
really do believe that when people have these challenges,
Yeah.
you can either use it to stop you or you can use it to fire you up like you did. And I
Yeah.
really believe that anything that we go through as healers and helpers, there's always someone right behind us that needs your message and someone right ahead that can pull you through. And it's always like that. And that's the connection that God gives us to each other. It's like there's always someone that's going to lead you, and there's always someone that just went through the lesson that you need. So I'm so thrilled that you used your life to inspire and to fire up other people in this fire that you've created, your alchemy. So that's just a beautiful thing.
I love that analogy too, because I started to imagine a chain. And because I used to think that like I had to have my life figured out before I could help other people. But
Not at
the more,
all.
right, like the more I show up, the more I realize that people just want authenticity. They just
They
want what's
do.
real. And I had to really sit with that for a while. Like I can help people from where I am. And that was hard to realize.
Yes. I really do believe our vulnerability is our strength. And
Yeah.
it's so counterintuitive because me, I'm also a strong person and I've always helped people, but I didn't want to tell them my stuff, you know. And what I realized through life at my age now is that that vulnerability is actually the thing that is your inner strength. And that when you can be vulnerable, it allows other people to say, you know, I've been through a lot of BS too, and maybe you can help me out. And if you can do it, I can do it. And it really helps the other person to know that wherever you are, and if you're authentically living it, is such a lesson for other people, right?
Yes, I love the way you speak about this. I really
Thank
do.
you. Thank you. Yeah, there's a lot of words when you've been a former teacher, right?
Yeah.
It's like you got all these words. Oh,
Well, I love education, so that's also
yes, me
here.
too. Me too. Oh my gosh. So you said you grew up with minister parents. Now, my
Mm,
question is, they gave you a beautiful faith,
mm.
but have you, like through your spiritual journey, understood that it may be bigger than the faith that you have learned?
Oh yeah, my worldview or my just personal view of what God is has expanded through life. And
Yes.
before like anyone raised in a Christian church, you think God is this blue-eyed,
Yeah.
blonde-haired being a man, and it's like it's so much more. It's life itself, and
Yes.
see that reflected in the eyes of people I've met through traveling to places like Bali and Thailand,
Love
to
it.
see God show up in my own heart. Like that was the biggest kind of like expansion I've experienced because I didn't know he was so close. I didn't know it was so close.
Yes.
It was as
Your
close
heart.
as my skin. And I was
Yes.
looking outside and it was like, no, the kingdom of heaven
Always
is
did.
within. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I channel my angels, and I've done
Mm.
this since 93, one of the things they
Mm.
told me is if you're hiding a precious gift and you put it right under someone's nose, they don't know it's there until they search inward. And I'm
Yes.
like, that is true. The other thing, and this is my vision of God,
Yeah.
excuse me, is that God is an ocean.
Yes.
And each person as we're born, we receive this small drop called our soul.
Mm.
And we're just in a temporary container. So that's why it looks like we're different than anybody else because of what we look like, but it's not that. It's our soul, which is a piece of God that we're all given. So
Yeah.
once you realize that it's not this, it's inside you, there is no reason to be prejudiced or see difference in people because of what they look like or who they are
Yeah.
culturally. We're all connected. And that
Oh.
and when we die, our soul and that piece of light goes back to God. We become part of the great that all that is, you know? So that's kind of how I see God. You know, I see it very open and very loving, you know,
Yes, me too.
in everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love the analogy that you use as God as the ocean, because that's exactly the same analogy I use too. I think.
Okay, that's awesome. Awesome. And the other thing I do know is that God sent several messengers, you know, one being Jesus, a very beautiful, enlightened soul. But there are many messengers because they have to look different for the culture that they're trying to teach. So that's why
Exactly.
you have the Buddha and Krishna and all these
Krishna. Yeah.
other, you know, soul people that help to say, okay, we're all spokes of the wheel and God's in the middle, you know. So
Yeah. You're
that's how I
singing
see
the,
it.
the song of my soul right now because that's
Yes.
exactly how I see
That's
it.
beautiful. That's so beautiful. Okay. So do you see yourself as an introvert or an extrovert or a combination of both?
I'm definitely introverted because I look at it as like how you recharge. So
Yes.
introverts tend to recharge in isolation versus
Yes.
extroverts, they get energy from socializing. And I can do both. I feel like
Yes.
it's definitely not black or white. It's kind of like a spectrum.
Yes.
But I feel the most grounded when I'm just sitting and radiating in my own energy. Like I love the way it feels to just not have to. I don't know, I'm very sensitive to other people. And so it's just like sometimes when I'm by myself, I don't have to be so, I don't
Yeah.
know, not
You're an empath.
performative. Yeah,
Yes.
like I can just chill and
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
energy from that.
Yes, you're definitely an empath. So
Yeah.
us empaths, I was a very introverted child. I was very
Yeah.
quiet till I was
Same.
probably 23.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden it's like, I want to be a teacher, so I have to learn how to talk.
Mm.
Now I'm more extroverted, but yet I recharge like in the forest, taking a walk, saying a
Yeah.
prayer. Like I need that time too. but
Mm.
I love being with people.
Me too.
But again, as an empath, you have to kind of see who you're spending time with too, because
Yes.
you have those energy sucker people in life, and those are the ones that can draw your energy if you're not careful. So,
Oh, yeah.
you have to be very mindful.
I had to learn what was my energy and what wasn't. And I think when I was younger and having that hypersensitivity, I didn't know what was mine and what wasn't. And so now it's
Right.
like,
That boundary.
yes. And so that's a part of my spiritual path that we spoke about that I really had to learn was setting those energetic boundaries.
Yes, one of the things that I teach my healers, because I'm a
Mhm.
Reiki master teacher, so one of the things I teach my healers is to feel the energy in your body. So when
Mhm.
you're making a decision or when you're speaking with someone, you feel the energy in your body and where you feel it.
Mhm.
You can actually ask your body to give you the truth more than your brain will give you the truth because our
That's
can fool us. So it's using the energetics of our body that really helps us to determine, do I feel safe with this person? Does my heart hurt? Does my stomach, act up when I'm with this person? Did I feel great 5 minutes ago? Now I feel terrible,
Mhm.
after spending time. And that really gives you clues to the energetic awareness and truth in our bodies and in our soul. So that's one thing that I've learned, that I teach because it's helpful. And I wish I would have known that when I was a kid.
Yes. I literally made a post about that the other day. Like I wish we were taught how much wisdom the body holds. I'm just now starting to discover.
Yes. Yes. That's so cool. I heard a really good quote the other day, and it was from a rabbi on Facebook. And he said something like, "Don't waste your light on someone who chooses to live in the darkness."
Mm,
And it was something like that. And I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. It doesn't mean you don't want to be the light and help, but
mm,
sometimes people are happy being
negative.
negative and in darkness, as sad as that seems to me. Like, that breaks my heart. I want
Mm,
everybody to be happy. But it's true. Sometimes we expend so much energy on those that are not ready to hear a message.
mm,
So I always think when someone's ready, they begin to open, and that's when your light can like break through like a rock, like a water through rock kind of thing. So I
mm,
figured that when you hear that nugget of wisdom,
mm.
through our conversation or through whatever, it'll hit where it lands and when it's supposed to.
I agree because it
Yeah.
definitely it hit where it needed to hit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
Mm.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to ask you what helps you to stay grounded and centered in your self-care when you feel that you're getting out of sorts. I know you mentioned quiet time, which is really important. Are there certain things that you do that you have learned through your years that that really helps you recharge?
Ooh, I would say journaling is the number one thing. I've journaled since I was a child, since I learned how to read and write. My dad taught me, and because I was
Oh,
always begging
beautiful.
him.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
so that was just something that I did to help me. I kind of do it like I don't have prompts or anything. I just do kind of like a
Like a,
brain dump. Yeah.
yes.
So I
Yes.
just write whatever comes up. It's kind of like this intuitive process, and I use the same process when I'm writing my books.
Love
I
it.
just get
Me
my
too.
conscious mind out of the way, and my subconscious just whatever is
Yes.
channeled through. And it's funny because people be like, they'll send me screenshots of my book and it's like when you said this thing, and I'm like,
I know, and
don't.
you don't remember saying it. I know, I get it. I get it. I also write, so that's my process.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
they
yeah,
call me a pantser, not a
yeah.
planner. It's
Yes.
like I just dive in and I write, and then you
Mhm.
go through the editing after with your editor hat as you're reading your
Yes.
stuff. But when I write, it's a stream of consciousness writing,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
I'm guided. I'm
Yeah.
guided to write down what I need to write down.
Yes. That's exactly how it feels. And I'm so glad I could share that with you and not have it seem strange because it's just
No, that's how believe me, I totally get it. And it's funny, when I was a teacher, they would teach the kids like how to do like an outline. And
Mhm.
believe me, I taught them, but I said, let's go outside, lay in the grass and write in our journal because that's where the true wisdom is. It's
I would
not
have loved to
in
have you
that
as a teacher.
outline.
I would have loved to have you as a teacher because I always hated outlines. I never did them.
I
I
know.
couldn't.
I
And
couldn't. The brain doesn't work that way. You're more
no.
creative.
Hmm.
Creative people need that, like just that inspired moment
Yes.
where you just express yourself. And to
Yes.
me, that's the true writing of your soul. It's not
Mm.
that linear line of where you write in your list. I mean,
Yeah.
it could be there, but I always start with the answer and back into the detail.
Yes, I'm the same way.
Right?
Yes, I love that you brought this up, Rosemary, because I never actually thought I was a good writer. My mom's a writer, and I just always felt like I was kind of like, I don't
Cheating,
know,
right?
terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah, I'm
and then
cheating
I
because
would
I'm not doing the outline.
right, and then I would get like perfect scores on my essays in school, and they'd be like, "You did this," and I'm like, I just always thought when I turned it in, like, this is crap, and
Yeah.
then the feedback, and it never occurred to me like, oh, maybe writing is how you express your art, because being an artist was
Oh,
like my first dream as a child.
oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, so do you draw and paint and things too?
Yes. So I used to draw. So when I was a child, it mostly came out as sketches. Because normally, oh, that's beautiful.
So
Oh, wow.
that's
It's
one of mine.
rose. It's
My son is an
beautiful.
artist, so I also love art and things. But
Yes.
again, I do it just for me. Like I just love
Yes.
to express myself.
I'm the same way. I don't sell it or anything. It just feels good to do for
Yes.
my nervous system. And I think that over time I started using writing as a way to express art because it was just there. Um,
Yeah,
and paint and everything else wasn't always there for me. After my dad died, that type of support really ended. So I was kind of left to whatever was available to create.
that's beautiful. So the angels are also telling me. So remind me later. I'm going to tell you something
Okay.
about your painting because
Okay.
I'm getting. They're coming in. I'm sorry. They're coming in strong, baby. They're coming in strong.
Okay.
Coming in hot, as they
Yeah.
say. Oh man. Okay. Are you aware of any of your guides or angels by name or just by energy?
Mostly by energy, but I feel like my dad has been a big support for me
Oh,
on the other
yes.
side. I dream about him constantly. Even
Yeah.
last night, I had a dream about him.
What's
Um,
his first name?
Hubert.
Yeah. I'm seeing
Mm,
a big man with a black suit on and a hat.
yeah, he
Yeah.
loved to wear suits.
Yes, yes, yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe that. And my father, I had both my
Mm,
parents are on the other side, and
yeah.
my father had a strong, very loving presence, and he
Yes.
communicated with me a lot after he passed, and I was
Yeah.
actually able to see the tunnel. I was able to see
Mm.
the orientation where the angel sat with him. Like they showed
Wow.
me a lot
I
of
have
stuff.
chills so
I
listening.
It gave me chills
Yeah.
because he just
Yeah.
opened the door for me when he was on the
Mm.
other side, and I'm like, oh, that's super cool.
Oh
But
my
yeah.
God, Rosemary. I had a dream of my dad not too long ago where I was kind of like being attacked almost by these entities. And I was like doing all I could to break away. And then I felt like I was being bogged down. And I called for my dad in my dream. And he like came out of nowhere. And
Ooh,
there was this door in front of me. And he lifted my hand to the door to unlock it. It was like he couldn't unlock it, but he lifted my hand and I opened the door. And it was like all those things were gone. It was so when you said open the door, I was like,
I'm getting chills right now. So you want to know the rest of your message because they're telling me.
please.
So when you are on a spiritual path and you have a lot of light and you can change a lot of people, there's gatekeepers. The gatekeepers are these darker energies that try to bring you into fear because when you're in faith, you can't be in fear, right? So your
Yes.
father was reminding you to have this very strong faith in God because
Mm,
nothing can impede when you have that.
yes.
And because you are such a force of light and you can change so many people, if the
Mm,
other side, the darker energies, can stop you
mm,
with fear, you will not be able to change other people's lives. And I was challenged when I first started channeling in 93. I was challenged by the most fearful vision that I could have, even thought of in my life, and it could have scared the bejiggers out of me. So
mm,
it scared me for 2 days, and I sat down and I prayed. I said, God, this is my mission. Nothing has power over you in this realm.
mm,
God, help me out. And I never had that dream again, and I was able to do what I'm doing now. But a lot of it is fighting that internal fear that you're not good enough. And that was
yes.
your message. Just to know,
Yeah.
harness that light because you have a lot of power. And
Yeah.
that's why it's fearful to those that are on that dark realm. They're trying to pull you back. And that's why
Wow.
your
It's
father helped
interesting.
you.
Wow. Because when I had that dream, when I did see the entity, I did feel this overwhelming sense of fear. It kind of like
Yep.
stopped a
It
little.
tries to stop you.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much.
You're
Wow.
welcome. You're welcome. You're on the path. You got to go, keep walking forward and just fight the fear whatever you can. And you fight it with faith, really. When you
Yeah.
know that nothing is stronger than light, light is always stronger than darkness. And
Mm.
it'll always be. But the only power darkness has is fear. That's it. If they can get you to fear, then they got you. you know?
Yeah. But fear is literally an illusion. Like you said,
It
faith,
is.
because it seems like it's the inverse of faith. I forget who said
It
it, but it
is.
was like fear is
False,
belief
false,
in, yeah,
yes. False evidence appearing real.
yeah. So it's not even
No,
some
it's
things,
not
the
real.
things I used to fear, like for me, it was definitely like having this fear of like when I would speak, because I had to go through a
Yes.
lot of like throat chakra. Even now, like it's still,
Opening. Yes.
yeah. And so it's just like I feel like whenever I would speak, I would be persecuted or I would be kind of,
Yes.
thrown to the side or something like this. So it took a lot for me to even show up on podcasts and I was fighting with it for a while. And then one day I heard a voice say, because I was like, I'm just trying to find my voice. And I heard a voice so clear and gentle say, how can you find your voice if you never use it? And that's when I was like, yeah,
Love that.
that's true.
Yes. And there's a lot of power in our voice because we
Yeah.
connect with other people in that way. And the
Yeah.
voice is very linked to heart chakra.
Yes. Yeah.
So to heal pain in the heart, if you
Mhm.
speak your truth and you're able to let it out, that also heals your heart chakra.
That makes sense because I felt like when I did start doing that heart chakra healing, that's when my voice got a little bit
It
strong.
opened. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it affects the confidence center, which is your third
Yes.
chakra. And then once you realize that this light is shining out, and then
Mm,
you realize not to take it personally. One of the smartest things that the angels told me is
mm,
when I'm channeling or giving messages, it's not about me. I'm simply a conduit for the words that someone else needs to hear. So they're like, I said, oh, cool, it's not about me. So,
mm.
that's great because then I don't have to worry about being judged
Yeah, that's
me a lot of
true.
confidence. It's like those words are sending you, you become the vehicle for what they want to bring to the world. And
Mm.
that's so like powerful and also releases you from worrying about who cares what you think about me. Not everybody's going to like me. It's okay. I want to be loved and liked by everybody, but it's not, it's
Yeah,
okay if I'm not.
that's true. Because why was I making it so personal?
And we do. That's we all do that. We all like, I just want you to like me, you know?
Yeah.
But again, once you get over that fear of someone else's judgment that probably, I always say if you don't go to someone for advice, I don't take their criticism. It's
Mm,
like, why would you go to the person that you don't admire for
right.
advice, when you're taking their criticism in as if it's true? Like a lot
Wow.
of times it's not. It's just their opinion. And everybody's got an opinion, right?
That's true. I love that. If I wouldn't take someone's advice, why would I take their criticism? That's
Yeah.
that's very powerful. I'm gonna have to sit with that.
Put that on a
Yes.
postcard because
Yes.
and that was a hard lesson. Like, wired as a people pleaser, me,
Same.
you want everybody to accept and love and like, but
Yeah.
that's not reality because people all come from their own backgrounds and fear and trauma.
Yeah.
So they only see through their dirty glasses. They're
Mm.
not seeing who you are truly. They're seeing
Yeah.
who they are and they're projecting.
Wow, that's true. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I needed that reminder. I really
Yeah.
did.
As I tell you, I remind myself,
Yeah.
it's like we teach what we also have learned and we also
Yeah.
need to know for ourselves.
Wow.
Okay. So, do you have pets?
I don't. I travel a lot, so I like to be,
Do.
yeah.
Okay. So you were mentioning your travel. So you said you've been to Bali. Where else have you been?
Thailand, Vietnam, Germany,
Oh,
Prague, um, Mexico,
oh my goodness.
Australia.
Wow, love that.
But
So,
I have so much, I still feel like I don't travel enough. Like, and
oh
I'm
my
trying to remember,
gosh.
like, just because you're not traveling right now doesn't mean you don't travel. Like, I
I
hope
love
that makes
that.
sense.
Yes. So, okay, my question is, were you traveling just for pleasure or through speaking? Like, how did you get that? Was that just for you?
So it's gonna sound strange, but I feel like it won't sound strange to you. I
No.
had a vision of myself living in a jungle when I was 20,
That's
25.
life. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's life.
And I was like, oh my God, I saw myself in this vision and I was so happy. I had a lightness about me. And I was living in the US at the time and it was the middle of the pandemic. So I definitely wasn't feeling that light. And I saw myself speaking to someone. I couldn't see their face, but I remember their essence and I could see that I was laughing with this person. And I was like, I could just see my own
Rita.
joy. And
Yeah.
so I kind of Googled jungles because I saw myself living in this bamboo hut in the vision. And I Googled bamboo huts in the jungle, and Bali showed up, and I was like, "Where is Indonesia?" And I had to
Oh, I love
pick out a
that.
map, and so did some more research, and then I sold everything in my apartment, sold my car, and I bought a one-way ticket to Bali in
Oh, I'm getting
2021.
chills.
And
And life sometimes hold these gifts
I
of our
agree.
fears and our even our gifts come from different times that we've lived. So I
Yeah.
know that I've been, many different things in many different
Yes.
places of the world as well. And I think that all becomes kind of like the puzzle and the pattern of who we
Yeah.
are now. And we
Yeah.
bring back with us things we came back to heal.
Yeah.
Could be our insecurity or, whatever it is. It comes as that like, okay, here's why you're here again.
That's true because in Bali, I did heal a lot of that heart chakra we talked about because
Yeah.
I was in a lot of pain. I was going through my first breakup. I was still dealing with the grief of, I had never grieved my dad at that point either because
Oh, yeah.
I was still in school. And so when you're in survival,
Yeah,
grief
yes. You don't
doesn't.
give yourself a chance. Yeah.
Yes. And so I was like in Bali, I was the freest I ever felt. I ended up meeting my soulmate, like my current partner, and he was the like a walking trigger, like everything. He was like the mirror I needed to be held up so I
Love
could fix
that.
myself. So he
Yeah.
wasn't fixing me and he can't fix me, but
No,
he was patient enough to be with me as I was still working and
love
regurgitate
that.
all of this
Yes,
filth,
the
you know?
feelings. Yeah,
So yeah.
so beautiful. I completely understand, and I think that's beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah.
one of the things I want to do is I want to travel some more. At this point
You
in
would
my
love
life,
it.
I'm like, what am I waiting for?
You
Uh,
would love
there's,
it,
there's
Rosemary.
places I want to go back to Italy. That's one thing.
Oh,
I
yes.
just loved it so much, and I felt like my heart was there. I just,
Yes.
wow, I felt so comfortable. I loved it. So,
Same. I don't know why
yeah.
I did. Italy was my favorite country.
Well, when I go back, maybe we'll travel together. Give me a
I would love
shout.
to. I would
Yes,
love to.
really, I'm serious.
Me too.
Oh man, because it was such a joy for me.
Yes, I would love to go
Yeah,
with you. Oh, I love this so much.
yeah.
I
That's
feel
super
like I'm
cool.
meeting my soul family again.
Me too. Me too. It's like, oh, my tribe is here.
Yes.
I always say, I always felt like, you kind of feel misplaced. Like somebody described my energy as a Maserati in a world of Mack trucks. So,
I can
it's like
see.
the energy is so refined, and yet you find
Yeah.
yourself like with these big Mack trucks trying to run you down all the
I
time.
agree. I always wondered
Yeah.
why is it like that? Like why aren't
Oh, you just
you?
froze.
Oh,
Yeah,
can you hear me now?
I can hear you. You're just frozen.
Okay.
Yes.
I was, let me see, I'll pause it for a bit.
Okay.
Uh, I was saying, like, I always wondered, like, why we weren't born into environments that just nurture our natural gifts. Why is it that we were born into environments that kind of felt like it was the opposite of who we were?
I think it's because that's the lesson. I think if you can transform yourself through a situation that feels awkward, that's
Yeah.
where your healing happens and that's where the lessons are. So I think if it was easy, there would be no need to be on earth because we'd be on the other side with God.
That's
We come here for the lessons. I believe this is like earth is like the school of hard knocks, right?
yeah,
This is actually like a purgatory in a certain way. It's like
yeah,
we're here to learn these lessons and it's very dense and heavy and
very
you know,
dense.
yeah. And then those moments of joy are when you can tap back with light and people that are like-minded,
Yeah.
right?
Because
Yeah.
during my doctorate, I was studying near-death experiences. I probably watched over 100
Hmm.
interviews because
Yeah.
I wanted to study spiritual consciousness, this
Yeah.
awareness of the invisible
Yeah.
world. And
I
who
believe
better
it.
to learn from than people who had face-to-face contact with the unknown?
Absolutely. I love those
So
too. That just inspires me so much.
it's so I don't even understand how you get so much inspiration from their stories, but it's there. And so
It's
I
real.
always wondered like if we come from light, why do we kind of descend in a way and then, we kind of have this amnesia. Some of us do, most of us do, but some
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
remember. And I'm just like, how is it that like you said, but maybe it's just a school, but if the soul
Yeah.
knows all things, then
Free will, free will. It's the light and darkness that's under everything. The
yeah,
classic story of light and darkness, and God wants
yeah,
us always to choose light, but we're
yeah,
given free will, so we can do the other. But again, when we realign back to our true soul, we
yeah.
are beings of light,
Yeah.
and that is our natural essence, but we fight it.
Yeah,
So
I agree. And it
yeah,
took me a while to really be like, am I a good person? Because I think the pain that I was experiencing after, seeing my dad suffer so much, I questioned if I was being punished. And when you're raised in a household that tells you that God
yeah,
didn't punish you for sinning, I mean,
yeah,
it's just like you really think like, am I loved? And it wasn't until honestly this part of my journey where I feel and I know like, no, I am supported. It wasn't punishment, it was
Absolutely. Yeah,
refinement.
that's
So,
right. Yes,
mm,
I completely understand that.
yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much for being my guest today.
Oh,
So you're gonna hang on after I stop recording because I want to chat with you.
okay.
But thank you so much. This is Rosemary, the Lightwalker's Path. Please subscribe, listen to my workshop sessions, find my books, find Dr. Harrell's book, and please share and like. Thank you.
Thank you.